Hello, this is Takasaki Tanaka. I'd like to talk about Bruno Taut in Japan. Bruno Taut was an architect who designed many apartment buildings in Germany in the years following World War I. In 2008, 4 of these housing complexes in Berlin were registered as UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Sites, attesting to Taut's talent. However, he was persecuted by the Nazis when they came to power in 1933 to such a degree that he, along with his partner and secretary, Erika Wittich, fled to Japan in 1933 in search of asylum. They stayed there for 3.5 years, of which a little more than 2 years were at Senshintei of Shorinzan Darumaji Temple in Takasaki, Gunma Prefecture. They landed in Japan at Tsuruga on May 3, 1933, and were greeted by Japanese architects Isaburo Ueno, Rokuro Nakanishi, and Tamotsu Nakao. Ueno, who studied at Technical University of Berlin and was married to Austrian artist Wittich, supported Taut throughout his stay in Japan. The day of their arrival, he and Erika were welcomed by Shotaro Yamamura, owner of Daimar, and brought to his home. The following day was Taut's birthday. In celebration, Taut and Erika were guided by Isaburo Ueno, Shotaro Shimomura, and others on a tour of Katsura Imperial Villa. There, Taut was moved to say, "It's so beautiful that I want to cry." He considers a visit that day to be the best birthday he ever spent. Taut got the mistaken idea that architect Kobori Enshu designed the Katsura Villa, and ever after held him in very high esteem. Bamboo grew well near Katsura Imperial Villa. Bamboo was also used as a building material in the construction of Katsura Imperial Villa. Bamboo was also used for this fence. The succession of shoji on the east front of the New Goten creates the impression of a wall of white stone. The effect is echoed by the whitewashed earth walls in the lower part of the building. The checkerboard pattern on the back wall of the room tokonoma is the same as the one on the fusuma between the first and second rooms. This was the first building to be constructed at Katsura. The classical medieval Shorin style, typical of the study and imposing residences of samurai, is blended with a more unconstrained and decorative skier style. A long path of stepping stones runs from the waiting bench along the shore of the pond to the stone bridge and from there to the Shorinzan. At the request of the current quintet, Taut planned a large-scale housing complex on Mount Ikoma in October 1933. However, this plan was not realized. Taut planned a house for Mr. Okura. This house was destroyed by World War II. Bruno Taut visited at Sugar Queen Imperial Villa on June 18, 1933, accompanied by Mr. and Mrs. Isaburo Ueno. The villa was built in 1659 and is simple and full of beauty in harmony with nature. It is considered an excellent exhibit of Japanese court culture. He loves the simple beauty of Shiraki without painting at Sugar Queen Imperial Villa. Taut visited Ise-jingu on October 1, 1933, guided by Isaburo Ueno. In his diary, he wrote, "It's been a wonderful day since the visit to Katsura Imperial Villa. Ise-jingu is a true and original symbol of Japan. It is the essence of Japan's unique culture. It is a classic and ingenious creation with global perspective. There are more than 100,000 shrines in Japan, and highest among them is Ise-jingu, located in Ise City, Mie Prefecture." The official name of Ise-jingu is Jingu, and the place name Ise is not included. The 125 shrines, including the most precious Naiku and Geku, are collectively called Jingu. The building of Ise-jingu is rebuilt every 20 years. He loves the simple beauty of Shiraki without painting at Ise-jingu. In contrast, Taut painted his buildings so gaudily that he was called the colorful architect. This is a stone staircase of Ise-jingu. On May 7, 1934, Taut visited Katsura Imperial Villa again, this time on a 4-hour tour. He was once again impressed with the harmony between the gardens of Katsura Imperial Villa and the surrounding houses. Based on this impression, he published Katsura Illustrated, a collection of his drawings and sketches. It was Taut's first publication since Alpine Architecture in 1933. This is the cover of the Katsura picture book. This picture was drawn with a brush. Bruno Taut mistakenly thought that Kobori Enshu designed Katsura Imperial Villa. It is unknown who designed Katsura Imperial Villa. Kobori Enshu didn't set the construction period for Katsura. This is unthinkable nowadays. The picture was drawn with a brush. The garden of Raikyuji Temple in Takahashi City, Okayama Prefecture, was designed by Enshu Kobori around 1600. Kobori Enshu's father was a castellan of Takahashi Castle at that time. This garden also captures the view of the mountains behind. Taut and his secretary Erika Wittich arrived at Senshintei of Shorinzan Darumaji Temple in the suburbs of Takasaki on August 1st. They were welcomed by the priest Hirose Taichu and his family. At Senshintei, he worked exclusively on writing, Erika taking dictation. Her workplace was a small lectern that was attached to Senshintei. Taut's ensuing book, Nippon, and recommendation by the Ministry of Education. This is a Senshintei. Taut wrote in his diary on October 29th, Senshintei is our hometown. On the 27th of October, the father of the folk art movement, Soetsu Yanagi and Bernard Rich visited Taut at Senshintei and stayed for 2 days, the three of them discussing art theory. This is a plan of Senshintei. This plan was sketched by Bruno Taut. Taut gave his impressions of Senshintei as follows. The back side of the Tokonoma alcove, which is a spiritual space, is a toilet, which is a place of living. These two spaces are separated by a thin partition wall. Japanese architecture is wonderful. There was a hearth at Senshintei. The room was heated by the hearth. Hot water was boiled in the hearth, and Taut used the hot water to drink coffee. This is inside of Senshintei, where Taut lived. Japanese homes are designed to incorporate the natural environment. Japanese homes were designed to blend nature with homes. As you can see, the rooms of Senshintei were cold in winter and hot in summer. Taut considered establishing an art school in Japan, oriented toward architecture. The Taut School, as it was called, was to be modeled after the Bauhaus in Germany. He even made detailed lesson plans and hoped to use the auditorium in Darumaji Temple for the school. But on January 1st, 1935, Taut's sponsor, Saichiro Inoue, declined to proceed with the plan. Taut was very disappointed. Taut saw the Dharma Festival in Shorinzan Temple on January 6, 1935. Taut left a sketch of the history of Japanese architecture. The thick line that shows the affirmation of Japanese architecture begins at Ise Jingu Shrine. However, this line didn't run straight due to the influence of Buddhist architecture. This is because rational and structural elements found in farmers in Shirakawa village have been lost from Japanese architecture. Buddhism, especially Zen philosophy, gave Japanese architecture a spiritual aesthetic through the culture of the tea ceremony. The architecture and garden of Katsura Imperial Villa forms the second peak after Ise Jingu Shrine. The thin lines that deny Japanese architecture begin with Buddhist architecture, whose structure had fallen into decoration. This was emphasized by the desire to show off the authority of the tyrannical rulers of the time. Taut used the temple's wooden black lacquered bowl to his meal. Taut liked this bowl and made it himself. The black lacquered bowl made by Taut is currently preserved in the Gunma Prefecture Historical Museum. A stone monument with Taut's words, "I love Japanese culture," stands beside the Senshintei where Taut lived. Taut received a request from a merchant, Rihei Hyuga, to extend his villa in Atami on April the 5th. Taut eagerly accepted. It is a staircase that goes down to the basement of Hyuga Villa in Atami, designed by Taut. The bottom is wider than the top. This is a method Taut often used in Germany. Taut was impressed by the fact that bamboo is often used in the construction of Katsura Imperial Villa. Bamboo was often used as a building material in the design of Hyuga Villa in Atami. Hyuga Villa was completed on September 20, 1936. The orderer, Mr. Hyuga, was a successful merchant. A counter used by merchants was built in Japanese room of Hyuga Villa. This is a European-style room in Hyuga Villa. This is a writing desk in Senshintei. Taut's companion Erika transcribed his dictation here. Taut designed a writing desk in the Japanese room at Hyuga Villa. It is probable that Taut expressed his gratitude to Erika. Bare light bulbs were used for lighting in the social room. There is a theory that Taut was inspired by the outdoor lighting of Bon Odori Festival that he saw at Yasaka Shrine in Kyoto. There is also a theory that it was inspired by the lighting of a squid boat floating in Sagami Bay. Some say this lighting is great. Others say it's poor. Taut used a lot of bamboo in his design of the Hyuga Villa. The imperial dais located in the first room and facing onto the enclosed veranda. One of the villa's most characteristic elements is the Japanese comb window of the imperial dais in the new Goten. Taut drew the Japanese comb windows of the imperial dais in his drawing book. In his design of the Ankara University, he used similar lines. There is a pond in front of the moon viewing platform of Katsura Imperial Villa. The platform is raised 17 degrees from the ground so that the moon would see from the front of the pond during the harvest moon. The porch of Ankara University is also raised 17 degrees from the ground. Normally, it is level to the ground. At Ankara University, windows are installed symmetrically on the left and right. This is also the influence of Katsura Villa. The steps of the Western-style room at Hyuga Villa don't have regular rises and runners. Such an example can be seen in Sugar Queen Imperial Villa. However, in Hyuga Villa, there are rocks under the steps. It was shaped like this because of the rock. In April of 1936, Taut lived in the coastal town of Taga, suburbs of Atami, to manage construction of the Hyuga Villa. In its construction, he used a lot of bamboo that he had seen at Katsura Imperial Villa. Taut enjoyed swimming in the sea there. Taut made wooden chairs and a table for his own use. When Taut left Japan, he donated the chairs and table to Mr. Hyuga, who had commissioned the villa's construction. This table and the chairs are currently stored at a soba noodle shop in Taga. Nails were not used for connecting the parts of the chair, but rather with copper wire. Thus, they are very comfortable to sit in. Taut was impressed to see the bamboo used in the building of Katsura Imperial Villa. Taut also used bamboo into the design at Hyuga Villa. The volcano Mount Asama erupted on May 5, 1935. Seeing the spewing red smoke, Taut observed, "It is the Earth's angry response to Japan's and Germany's war preparations." Taut and Erika left Japan for Istanbul as soon as the Hyuga Villa was completed. Many farewell parties were held. On October 8, 1936, Taut and Erika were sent off by many villagers and left Shorinzan Darumaji Temple. A big farewell party was held in Tokyo as well. They left Tokyo Station on October 12th and arrived in Kyoto for their last view of autumn colors there. They left Kyoto on October 15th, boarded the camp between Shimonoseki and Busan ferry for Shimonoseki, and left Japan. Taut visited Manshuin in Kyoto on October 14, 1936. Just before he left Japan, he placed flowers at the tomb of Kobori Enshu. Taut stated, "My farewell to Japan is my farewell to Kobori Enshu." Taut then wrote a tribute to Kobori Enshu. From the train window from Tokyo to Kyoto, Taut could see Mount Fuji, which Taut liked. The train at that time ran slowly. Taut had made many sketches of Mount Fuji and praised male figure of Mount Fuji. In addition to working as a faculty member at an art academy in Istanbul, Turkey, he has done a grade of architectural design with the confidence of President Atatürk. The Faculty of Letters of Ankara University and Atatürk High School building in Ankara, which were designed by Taut, still remain. However, Taut worked too hard and he died on a heart attack at his home in Istanbul on December 24th, 1938. Erika came to Japan from Istanbul via Singapore, which was dangerous for Germans at that time. Without her efforts, Taut's writings, diaries, and so on would not have remained in Japan. Taut's diary and writings were translated into Japanese and even published. Erika returned to Japan in September 1939 with Taut's manuscripts, personal effects, and death mask. The death mask was brought in Shorinzan Darumaji temple, which is right next to Taut's former residence Senshintei in Takasaki. On December 24, 1939, Erika and several of Taut's friends gathered at Darumaji temple and held a memorial service for the first anniversary of his death, with the chief priest Hirose Taichu as the mentor. The translations got a lot of readers. The Japanese Ministry of Education thanked Bruno Taut for complimenting Japanese culture as a foreigner. Taut's book helped encourage the Japanese. This is because Japanese at that time had a feeling of inferiority to Western both technically and mentally. Japanese schools adopted Taut's book as a supplement reader. At that time, Japan was preparing for the opening of the Pacific War, which was convenient for Japanese government. Taut was a pacifist, so it would have been annoying. On December 24th, 2008, 70 years after Taut's death in Istanbul, a memorial service was held in Darumaji temple, and I gave a lecture about Taut. When I tell the Germans about this, they say that Christmas Eve is a quiet celebration at home and I shouldn't go out. I say the temple is the same as the German church. Bruno Taut, who sought world peace, is now sleeping in a tomb in Istanbul. The chief priest Hirose Taichu, who warmly welcomed Bruno Taut, who came in the form of asylum, is sleeping in a grave in Shorinzan Darumaji temple. There is nothing in the world. This is a Zen Buddhist expression. It means to work hard while one is alive. Thank you for